when you're considering a platform, look at what it's going to take to get started on that platform. Then you want to look at TCO, total cost of ownership over time.
Do you want to own the platform, or do you want to use SaaS platform?
A website isn't going to naturally just go out and draw traffic for you. You're going to still have to draw traffic to that website.
You need to be able to have a good online presence. You need to have branded elements, products. You need the ability to receive orders, to communicate with your customers.
Simply stated, every single one of those platforms has strengths, and every one of those platforms have weaknesses. We always have to talk about budget, and it's not just budget. It's like, what's the end goal for the customer?
The obvious thing would be to make sure the platform you're looking at is firearm friendly.
Not only who will allow you to be on the platform, but who will continue to allow you to scale on their platform over time.
Typically, my two go-to is either WooCommerce or BigCommerce.
BigCommerce does partner with PayPal Braintree specifically, but PayPal and some of those bigger companies are known at times to have a change in opinion or have certain filters put on accounts in order to protect them, because firearm companies are seen as, quote unquote, high risk companies. So a better solution, which we have found, is actually partnering with Elevon.
Look at the core ecosystem. And as you start to outgrow their ecosystem, you can move some of the e-commerce components to BigCommerce because there's integration. So you're able to start with a system that's tailor-made for up-and-coming merchants. And then once you've come up, you can pivot components of it to BigCommerce really seamlessly.
None of them are going to publicly come out and say like they're, pushing for it. But most of those companies have some sort of quiet marketing initiative, to attract those merchants.
My experience is that there's no such thing as one size fits all. There's no single solution that just works for everybody's needs.
When it comes to the gear fires, the core forces, the ammo readies, you have little to no control over SEO, right? Search engine optimization. You have little to no control over, your meta tags, your titles and descriptions, your alt tags, all those different things that, while seemingly small and innocuous, they all add up to help with your SEO rankings. And you don't really have much control or any control on those smaller platforms. What we gain in ease of use, we lose in control. A growing organization needs more and more control over how it runs its business.
If you're okay with everything out of the box, how it works, how it looks, what your theming functions are, they're suitable solutions. They've been tried and true. But if you want any sort of flexibility, any ability to customize, any way to stand out on your own from your competitors, you're not going to get that on a Gearfire or one of those out-of-the-box type platforms. The all-in-one platforms do it minimally okay. But if you want best-in-breed third-party options, you will not be happy on an all-in-one platform.
Every gun store has different nuances in gun management, inventory management, accounting, sales tax, trade-ins. Every one of them is different. There is no turnkey off-the-shelf system. Problem that we've seen is the scalability beyond, several $100,000 to $1 million, somewhere in there. The capabilities really start limiting you and your future on that platform. You want to have something in place that you can grow with and can grow with you. So if you're looking at Magento, obviously there's a great path forward there, and that can grow with you. Or if you're looking at something like BigCommerce, you can start on one of their pro plans, grow into some of their enterprise plans later on when you're ready. So there's a lot of different options there, and then you can even go beyond something like that, like Shopware that is a little bit more robust, a little more B2B functionality. There's a lot of options there, but it really depends on who you are, what you're trying to accomplish, and how long you think you'll spend at each stage of development for your business. If you don't have the right tech stack in place, you really don't know a customer. You don't know what they like. You don't know what they want to buy. You don't know what they're considering that's outside of your catalog. So having the right tech stack in place that can really help you get an underlying base of data around your customers so that you can make better merchandising decisions. You can plan different avenues of growth or parallel stores or parallel brands or just whatever. If you really understand your customer and what they are looking for, what they like, and just personalize that e-commerce experience, there's tremendous growth opportunity there that most people don't even know is out there.
Creating a customized and personalized customer journey. That personalization is absolutely key. So where do you do that, right? Like if that's what the consumer is demanding and that's what consumer trends are leaning toward, where are the opportunities to make that happen? And when you find those opportunities, how do you connect that piece of tech stack? So number one, right off the top, is always going to be search. Your search on your website has to be dominant because that's where the majority of your customer base is going to go in the shot industry, especially. That demographic, by and large, is leveraging search on your website far more than in other verticals. We see this all the time. So search has to be fast. It has to autocomplete. It has to have responsiveness. It has to have some AI pieces built into it. It has to basically, through very quickly, by understanding what someone is typing in, be able to interpret what that customer is after, and then kind of create that web of associated products and other things. That's so far beyond your generic related products and that sort of thing that you see in carousels on a standard website and that sort of thing. It's got to go beyond that. So it has to put the right products front and center in front of people that can then start taking them down, whether that be straight to a product landing page or start to weave them down into other parts of the site from a category level, subcategory level, product level, right? This is just basic customer journey, but it starts with search. And so search has to be elegant. It has to be fast. It has to do more than just pop out a product based off of the exact word that you typed into it. So there's lots of great options out there for all the different platforms, but you need some AI in there. You need some firepower behind the search. Next to that, I would say the ability to merchandise on your site is really important. We see a lot of brands miss when it comes to merchandising, especially at a category level. They're just not putting the right things front and center in front of people. And so, again, there's other apps out there that are also using artificial intelligence to help orchestrate that behind the scenes to where the merchant doesn't have to touch anything. It's plug and play, right? But being able to get those right categories, right products in front of people, not only based off of what their interests are, but also based off of what the business's goals are. Is it, sales season? Is it holiday season? Do you have a new product launch? Are you trying to move inventory? I mean, there's so many different things going on behind the scenes that if you can start to feed that kind of information into a merchandising app or solution, it can then begin to position the right products all over your website to help, conversion rate optimization and those sorts of things. And then moving down to, a product page level, is it actually optimized for conversion? It's not just about having a product photo, a couple extra photos, an add to cart button, and then a description and a few other things. Like, there's got to be different things that are being plugged in. What about payment options, right? Like, how many different payment options are you providing people? 0% interest, payments, financing, things like that, where people can buy now, pay later. There's a lot of two-way friendly apps that are out there that can plug and play with all the major platforms. Again, that's going to help increase conversion, especially on your mid-tier, higher ticket type products that are more expensive. Again, you can start to drive a lot of growth there by plugging in the right pieces of tech stack to optimize on the product landing pages. So those are just a few, off the cuff real quick that we see being pretty important. But again, going back to what we've been talking about the whole time is you got to make sure they're two-way friendly, because the worst thing to have happen is for you to plug in a piece of tech stack that becomes really core to the personalization on your website and the differentiation of your site, and then to have that shut off, or you have to rip it out and replace it with something that becomes a real heavy lift.
Compliance is required for firearms, right? Dealers. When you get into transacting online or at a point of sale, when you are, using a Flxpoint data integration where your gun source is coming from one location to another. Compliance is integral in that, right? So if you're going to go to a model where you're doing, e-com, dropship fulfillment, that kind of thing, compliance has to be in mind. Personally, I think the Fastbound is hands down the best solution on the market for digital compliance. If you're going to integrate with web, point of sale system, Fastbound is, in my opinion, the absolute best option. The cool thing about a digital bound book is that it forces adherence to the compliance standard. The chances of that error happening are significantly reduced over like a paper system.
The number one thing that everybody's trying to solve is how do we lower our manual order check process, right? And so automatic FFL will definitely help you get a lot of the way there. One thing is you want to make sure that your messaging is very clear to the customers. A lot of them maybe have never bought a gun online. They don't know what the process is like, or, they're just unfamiliar. So making sure on the product page, at checkout and everything, that the customer realizes that, what the process is like, so that they're able to check out, but most likely they're still going to have to contact that FFL and either get their certificate or at least like send, some kind of information over to the merchant a lot of the time. So just making sure that process is smooth, and as well as on the merchant side, right? So if you can figure out how to automate the process even more, so making sure that after somebody has purchased a firearm, that they're sending their FFL number or whatever FFL information is getting to the next right place, right? So going from your order to whatever integrations or whatever systems to your bound books and all that, and just making sure that most everything is done for you, and that because you're losing a lot of work hours, a lot of time to the manual process that is buying a firearm. So anything that you can do to minimize that process is going to make a big impact over time.